Great.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to you, Peter. Sohoni, you're the CEO of InDex Pharmaceuticals. Please give us an introduction for approximately 10 minutes. Please.
Thank you thank you for the opportunity to present here today. So my name is Peter Sohoni. I'm the CEO of InDex Pharmaceuticals. And I'll start by our standard disclaimer regarding forward-looking statements. Not so exciting. More. InDex, we're a biotech company that is developing a drug to be able to help patients suffering from ulcerative colitis, like Felicia here, to live a normal life. That's our mission. And our lead candidate is called Copytolomod, that we are developing to treat ulcerative colitis. And we are now in phase 3 with Copytolomod. So 2 weeks ago, we had the first patient in the phase 3 study. So we are now formally a phase 3 company, which is a great milestone for InDex and for Copytolomod. Phase 3 is the last stage of development before you can apply for marketing approval. So it's far advanced. Apart from Copytolomod, we have a broad portfolio of chemically similar compounds. We call them DIMS, DNA-based immunomodulatory sequences, that we can use to steer the immune system via a receptor called toll-like receptor 9. And through this, we can address a lot of different immunological diseases. But these are in a much earlier stage of development than Copytolomod. So in these 10 minutes, I won't be able to really dive into them. We are listed on the Nasdaq First North growth market in Stockholm since 5 years now. Our market cap is around 800 million Swedish crowns. And earlier this year, we raised a bit more than 500 million Swedish crowns to fund phase 3 development of Copytolomod. And at the same time, we strengthened the shareholder base. So today, our largest shareholder is Link. This is the investment company from Bengt Jolander, who is a known life science investor in Sweden and in the Nordics. We also have HBM, which is a Swiss life science specialist fund, well regarded, and we have the Fourth National Pension Funds and the Swedish bank Handelsbanken. Those are the 4 largest owners, and together they account for about 40% of the company. But we have more than 5,000 shareholders in total, so we also have a large number of private investors, smaller investors. So a little bit on ulcerative colitis. It's a very difficult disease. It's caused by a chronic inflammation of the colon or the large intestine, and it comes in flares. So you can have active periods followed by inactive periods. And when a patient is in these active periods in a flare, they suffer from the typical symptoms, which are very frequent blood and mucus mixed diarrhea. So they have to go to the toilet all the time, and it's mostly mucus and blood. Then you have pain, you have loss of energy. There are many other effects of this disease, but the typical symptoms are these blood and mucus mixed diarrhea. The current therapies for moderate to severe ulcerative colitis have limited efficacy, and they are associated with severe side effects. So a lot of patients can't tolerate them, or even if they do tolerate them, they have a lot of negative side effects. So there is a great need for new types of safe and efficacious drugs for these patients. When they get the disease, they're typically fairly young, between 20 and 30 years of age. But then you have the disease for the rest of your life. So they are on long-term treatments, lifelong treatments in some cases. So you really want to make sure that the safety profile of the drugs is good. And this is where we come in with Copytolomod as a first-in-class treatment. So we are developing Copytolomod as a potential new drug for moderate to severe ulcerative colitis. These are the more difficult cases of the disease that have failed previous treatments, that nothing has really worked for them. And we have presented phase 2b data. So we did a phase 2b study where we could first show good efficacy and with an excellent safety profile. But in addition to that study, we have previously completed 4 clinical studies that support the efficacy and safety that we could demonstrate in the phase 2b study. So based on this positive previous data, we have now started a phase 3 study or phase 3 program. And as I said, 2 weeks ago, we had the first patient in that study. So we're very excited about that. So what Copytolomod can offer compared to other treatments is, well, first of all, we have a competitive efficacy. So we have similar effects as other drugs on the market or in late stage development, but with a much superior safety profile. So we've had a completely clean safety profile in our previous studies, and that's probably to some extent explained by the way we give this drug. It's a local treatment that we give rectally using an enema, and you have a photo of the enema there. And we only give it every 3rd week. So it's also an infrequent dosing that the patient can do in the comfort of their home. While for the current treatments, a lot of them are intravenous infusions where you have to go to a hospital to get treated. And on top of this, we have a novel mechanism of action, a new way of addressing the disease, which is also important because the current mechanisms of action doesn't seem to work in many cases, and then you want to try something new. So all in all, we see that Copytolomod has a very large commercial potential given this outstanding combination of efficacy and safety, and also with the new and unique mechanism of action. And we estimate the sales can reach more than $1 billion per year at the successful commercialization of the product eventually. So we are now doing the phase 3 study. The first patient was enrolled on November 24, to be exact, which was a very important milestone for us. And we estimate now 18 to 24 months to complete that study to data readout. COVID-19 or the pandemic has made it difficult for clinics to prioritize starting up new studies because they've had to take care of their patients and the accumulated debt of care they have to provide, and also other studies they were in. But now that we are up and running, we see that studies from other companies that were started before the pandemic have been able to recruit at good rates during the pandemic. So we estimate that we will reach the planned recruitment rate now that we're up and running. The study design is based on our successful phase 2b study. We're testing 2 doses, both the best dose from the phase 2b, which was 250 milligrams, but we're also testing a higher dose of 500 milligrams that could potentially provide an even higher efficacy. It's a fairly large project. It's a global study. We will be at a few hundred clinics in more than 30 countries. And to be able to manage this, we have hired a top-tier CRO called Parexel, which is the same CRO that we used for our phase 2b. So we know them well and they know us well. And we now have regulatory approval to start in 9 countries. And we have other countries ongoing. So just 2 weeks ago, in the last 2 weeks, we've added 5 countries. So it's going quick now that we're adding countries, new countries every week. So we very much look forward to executing this trial and confirming the efficacy and the excellent safety profile that we have seen before, with competitive efficacy and virtually no side effects. So that was my 10 minutes. Yeah, goes quickly.
Yes, it does. That's the way it is, Peter. But thank you very much, and congratulations on your new status as a phase 3 company. That's great news, I think. Obviously, many people will be interested in this global phase 3, and how many patients will you have to enroll, and will it be more difficult with COVID-19 and stuff? Can you share any more news about it? I know it's high alert to you.
Yes. So we just had the first patient recruited, and we estimate 18 to 24 months to complete the study. Yeah. So what we've seen is that it's hard to get the clinics up and running because to get their attention to focus on the startup processes. But as I said, we see other companies that started before COVID, or in the beginning of the pandemic, that have been able to keep a good recruitment rate. So these patients are seriously ill. I mean, they do go to the hospital, even in cases of lockdown. So you can reach them.
No.
So we expect to be able to complete this in 18 to 24 months. But of course, who knows where the pandemic will go? But so far, we think this is a reasonable estimate.
Just out of curiosity, how many patients will you need to enroll to make this happen?
We have 440 patients is the target.
Okay.
440.
And it's over 200 sites in 30 countries. So it's pretty, it's pretty big.
Yeah, it's a sizable project. Absolutely. Yeah. So that also tells you, I mean, these patients are not that common to find. So we need a couple of hundred clinics to get 440 patients in these 18 to 24 months. So each clinic doesn't have that many patients.
No. So basically what you're saying is that in maximum of 2 years from now, we'll have the readout, and then you are basically ready to go to the market if things go the way you want it to.
This study is part of a phase 3 program that includes also a second study like this. And then the patients that respond in these shorter studies are offered to continue in a so-called maintenance study, where we continue to treat them for a year. So this is a 6-week study, but then we also need to offer them long-term treatment. So actually, this is the first half of the phase 3 program, you can say, that we will get the readout in 18 to 24 months. But of course, that will be a very significant value inflection point for the company and the share and everything. Because if we can confirm good efficacy and good safety there, we will be in a very strong position for the future.
Of course.
And I think an important point to raise here is that the money we raised earlier this year should see us through this first study. So we are fully financed for this first study, but then there is additional phase 3 work to be done.
Okay, and just to sort of trying to illustrate, normally in this phase, you will begin to talk about commercialization. That's perhaps a bit early, but you will also start to be attracting big pharma's interest into your company. I mean, I know you cannot say, of course, that there's interest from big pharma, but can you give us some hints as to how we should see this as investors? Because if you have a product that can go with a 1 billion, then of course it will be interesting for big pharma.
Yeah. No, so as you said, we're a little bit away from actually launching the product. So we don't have to really decide now. So we remain opportunistic and keeping all doors open. I think it's important to say that given that this is still a fairly limited disease in size, we think it would be possible for us to take it all the way in selected regions and market it ourselves. But of course, we are also keeping potential partners updated on the progress, and we know for a fact that they are following our progress.
Sure.
So I think it's, as you said, it's too early to really say now if it's going to be one way or the other.
Yeah.
But we have several strategic options open to us.
Perfect. And just in terms of your shareholders, can you remind us about your own involvement? I think that's normally something people want to know.
So I have shares,
Yes.
and then I also have options, stock options.
So you have hånden på kogepladen, as we say in Denmark.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Cool.
And the exact numbers can be found on our website.
Of course. Fair enough. Well, congratulations on your progress, and it was very good to have an update from you. Thank you very much for joining us, and see you next time.
Thank you for today.
Thank you.